Buckle up, everybody, because we're diving into some serious shakeups in the women's college basketball AP Top 25 rankings.
Yeah, this week was wild.
It really shows you how unpredictable this season's going to be.
Absolutely.
Before we go any further, though, let's do a quick level set for anyone new to this whole thing.
Okay.
So the AP poll, it's like the holy grail of rankings in college basketball. The higher a team climbs, the better their chances of landing a good seed in the NCAA tournament, which is the ultimate prize.
Right.
Bragging rights, national recognition, a shot at the championship. It all comes down to this.
Exactly. And this week, one of the biggest stories, well, it's the fall of a giant.
I was going to say, South Carolina.
Reigning national champs.
They lose their second game this season to Texas,
I was shocked.
dropping them to number 4 in the rankings.
17-game win streak, and then boom.
Boom, Texas happens.
Texas happens. What went wrong? Was it just an off night, or is there something more here? Well, one thing that really jumps out is their shooting. They only hit 36.8% from the field, way below their usual average. Playing on the road is tough, but against a top team like Texas, you can't afford a night like that.
Especially not when Texas is playing like they are right now.
Oh, yeah.
8-game win streak. They looked unstoppable against South Carolina.
They did.
Madison Booker was on fire. 20 points. But it's more than just her. The whole team was just clicking.
And what's interesting about that Texas win, it wasn't just their offense. I mean, that was great, don't get me wrong, but their defense,
Oh, yeah.
suffocating.
Yeah.
They forced South Carolina into tough shots, disrupted their rhythm, aggressive, disciplined, and they played with an intensity. South Carolina just couldn't match.
And with that win, they blew the SEC race wide open.
Absolutely.
3-way tie at the top. South Carolina, LSU, and Texas, all at 10-1. Talk about pressure.
Speaking of pressure, South Carolina's got a tough road ahead. They've got Florida coming up, and then get this, they have to face UConn, who, by the way, are always a powerhouse. It'll be fascinating to see how they bounce back from this loss.
Right. Can they regroup, find that championship form again? That UConn matchup is going to be huge, especially with UConn coming off a loss themselves.
Right.
They fell to Tennessee.
He did.
Really shook things up in the top 10.
Yeah.
But then they came back and dominated the Big East, so who knows what to expect.
It's going to be a clash of styles.
Right.
UConn, you know them, fast-paced offense, relentless pressure. South Carolina, they rely more on size and strength in the paint. It's going to be a fascinating matchup to see who can impose their will.
And let's not forget Texas either. They've got back-to-back games against Kentucky and then LSU.
Big ones.
If they can pull out wins in both, serious message to the rest of the SEC.
Absolutely. Those games are going to be a real test. You know, can they handle the pressure? Kentucky especially, they've been quietly climbing the ranks.
Yeah.
They're up to number 8 now. And under their new coach, Kenny Brooks, they're playing with a whole new confidence.
Yeah, I've heard great things about what Coach Brooks is doing in Kentucky. Seems like he's turning things around. What's been the key? New strategies, new players, or just a shift in attitude?
Well, one thing that really pops out is their defensive intensity.
Okay.
They're forcing turnovers, blocking shots, making it so hard to score against them. And on offense, they're sharing the ball well. Makes them really unpredictable.
Sounds like a nightmare to play against.
Yeah.
No wonder they're a top 10 contender now. But let's not forget, the team's still clinging to that number 1 spot despite all the craziness. UCLA.
It's incredible, undefeated.
I know.
And they've had to deal with so much this year, on and off the court.
Absolutely.
The LA community's been through some tough times, but the Bruins have shown incredible resilience.
I have so much respect for what they've been able to achieve.
Me too.
They had some battles this week, Ohio State, Oregon, but pulled out wins in both. Shows how deep their talent pool is.
Yeah, and their schedule, it doesn't get any easier. Huge rivalry game coming up against USC, who's ranked number 6. And then they got to face Michigan State. They might be lower ranked, but they've got upset potential.
Yeah, Michigan State is definitely a team to watch. They're scrappy, they play with a lot of heart, and they're not afraid of anyone.
It's true. And remember, the Big Ten race is super tight right now.
Yeah.
UCLA only has a half-game lead over USC. Every win is crucial. It really is shaping up to be a battleground. And speaking of battles, Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting pretty at number 2. Perfect 12-0 conference record in the ACC.
Unstoppable in conference play. Did you see those games against Stanford and Cal?
Oh, I did.
44-point average margin of victory.
It's crazy. They're not just winning, they are dominating. Offense clicking, defense is a wall. And they just have this aura of confidence about them.
I'm starting to think they might be the team to beat this year.
Yeah.
Even over UCLA.
Yeah.
They have this quiet intensity that's almost scary.
I wouldn't count out UCLA just yet. I mean, they've proven they can handle pressure,
Oh, for sure.
rise to the occasion. But you're right, Notre Dame is a force to be reckoned with.
All right. So we've talked top teams, but what about further down the rankings?
Ooh, yeah.
Any underdogs we should be keeping an eye on?
Absolutely. One team I think has potential to make some noise, Michigan State.
I like them too.
They're currently ranked 22nd.
Yeah.
They've had some tough losses,
Yeah, they have.
but they've shown flashes of brilliance.
They have this scrappy, never give up attitude I love.
Right.
Plus, they have a knack for those upsets. Remember last year when they took down, what was it, insert a highly ranked team from last year?
Oh, yeah, nobody saw that coming.
No one saw that coming.
And they thrive on proving people wrong.
Yes.
They're not afraid of the big stage, not intimidated by anybody.
So what's their secret weapon? Is it a star player? Coaching strategy? Or just pure grit?
You know, it's interesting. They have a really balanced attack.
Okay.
They don't rely on one superstar to carry them. They've got several players who can score in double figures, and they're all unselfish. Plus, their defense is incredibly tough. They're relentless. They pressure the ball, make it hard for teams to get into any kind of rhythm.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
It does, doesn't it?
Any other teams further down you think could make a deep tournament run?
Keep an eye on Oklahoma.
Okay.
They're ranked 16th. And Maryland, who are sitting at number 17.
Right.
They've both had some ups and downs.
Yeah.
But they've got the talent, the experience.
They do.
Could make a serious run.
Oklahoma always feels like a program with a lot of potential.
Yeah.
History of great players. And this year's team seems to be finding their stride.
They are. And Maryland, nobody wants to face them in March.
Oh, no.
They're always well coached. They play with grit. And they have a knack for coming up big in those clutch moments.
They're basically be prepared for anything come tournament time.
Pretty much.
Which is what makes college basketball so exciting. Never know what's going to happen.
It's true, and that's why it's important to pay attention to the whole picture,
Yeah.
not just the top teams. So many hidden gems out there.
There are.
Teams that can shake things up, defy expectations.
I completely agree. And I think this season is proving that parity is becoming the norm.
Absolutely.
That gap between the top teams and everyone else, it's shrinking,
It is.
making the competition even fiercer, even more unpredictable.
Absolutely. And I think it speaks to the growth of the women's game. The talent pool is deeper than ever, coaching's more sophisticated, and the athletes themselves, they're more dedicated, more determined than ever before.
It's an exciting time to be a fan, that's for sure. Speaking of fans, what about our listeners? What do y'all think about all this drama unfolding? Who are you rooting for? We'd love to hear your predictions, your hot takes.
Yeah. And while you're thinking about that, let's circle back to one of the biggest upsets. South Carolina's lost to Texas. What does this mean for the rest of the SEC? Can South Carolina bounce back? Can they reclaim their spot at the top?
Yeah, that loss really throws a wrench in things.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how they respond to adversity. They've been the team to beat for so long. Now they've got a target on their back. Can they handle the pressure?
And what about LSU?
Ooh, good point.
They're quietly waiting for their chance. They've got that huge game coming up against Texas. Could decide the whole SEC championship.
Can't wait to see how that one plays out.
Yeah.
Two high-powered offenses, two elite coaches, two teams with a lot to prove.
It's going to be a classic. And then there's UConn.
Right.
Perennial powerhouse. They seem to be finding their groove again after those early stumbles. And they've got that massive showdown with South Carolina coming up. Could be a preview of the national championship game.
Oh, I'm on the edge of my seat already. So much drama, so much excitement, and we're only just getting started. It feels like every single game now is going to have huge implications for the tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride to the finish line.
It is. But, you know, even with all this talk about wins and losses and rankings, we got to remember these are college athletes playing for the love of the game.
Absolutely. Pouring their hearts and souls into every single game, representing their schools, their communities, and doing it all while juggling school and everything else life throws at them.
It's really inspiring to see their dedication, their passion, their role models, you know, showing young athletes that anything is possible with hard work and just that drive.
And they're showcasing just how incredible women's basketball is. The level of play is phenomenal, and it's only getting better.
Absolutely. So to anyone who hasn't been following along this season, I urge you, tune in. You will not be disappointed. This sport is full of excitement. It's got passion, and these athletes are so incredibly skilled.
And if you're looking for a place to start, We've got you covered. We've put the full AP Top 25 rankings in our show notes so you can see where all the teams stand and get a sense of the big storylines.
And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into all kinds of cool stuff. We're always digging up the most interesting, insightful information out there, and we love sharing it with you.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that passion for knowledge burning bright.
And as always, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.